from Plugged On. I'm here with a concert review. I'm going to be talking about Slayer's final world tour featuring Slayer, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Behemoth, Testament. So listen to Santander Arena in Reading, PA. First time I was ever there. Pretty nifty place, I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed the size of the arena. It's not, it's a decent size for it, but we had pretty damn good seats. A little bit confusing finding the seats at first, because it's like you're in section 116, so you go to where it says 116, it's like, oh, our seats are all the way over there, and now we have to cross 12 people and there's no space. That stuff always sucks. We actually sat for half of Testament's set. We thought we were in the right seats, and we weren't. And then the people that came up that had the right seats, had the seats we were in, were like, "Hey, man, it's cool. Move. As long as it doesn't fill up, you can stay here for Testament's set and whatever." And then, of course, people showed up right about when Testament was about halfway through their set. But anyways, found our seats. Seats was great view of the stage. Honestly, I really liked it. So yeah, Slayer, they're calling it quits. They're going on a final world tour here, and boy, do they have a lot of dates lined up for this motherfucker. And they have a hell of a package too. I mean, instantly when Keith and I saw this, we were like, we cannot miss this. Just because not only is it Slayer's last tour, but just this lineup is incredible. So without further ado, let's get into it. Testament opened up. I know a lot of people are very iffy that Testament's opening first. Behemoth is after them. To me, I mean, it is what it is. Behemoth is a very popular band too. Just because Testament's an older band doesn't mean that they should be playing ahead of Behemoth. It doesn't mean shit, honestly. You look at album sales, streaming numbers, all that stuff, they're about equal, and they played pretty much equal in terms of time. It's just Testament's first. It is weird, I know, but I heard a lot of people complaining about that at the show. It is what it is, man. Testament, so we got there pretty much right when they started playing. Opened up with Brotherhood of the Snake. So this is the first time I've seen them since Brotherhood of the Snake came out a few years ago, and that's a great record. And so hearing Brotherhood of the Snake was awesome, because that's just such a heavy song, and it's really great live. Then they went into Rise Up off of Dark Roots of Earth, another great song. I really enjoy hearing that one live. It's a good one to play early in your set to really get the crowd going and into it. Then they bust out Nolan, Practice What You Preach, always a good one. Then they played the Pale King, which is off Brotherhood of the Snake. Probably another fantastic track off of there. Really liked hearing that one live. And then they end with 3 tracks off of The New Order. They played Into the Pit, The New Order, and Disciples of the Watch. All those songs are awesome to hear live. Testament was fine. I would say, I've seen better performances from Testament, and they were so fucking loud. And and I know, like, oh, you're at a concert, it's loud, you're in an arena. But it's like, now, arena shows usually, to me, at least I feel, they aren't that overly loud. And Testament was fucking loud as shit. You listen to him and you're like, okay, this is what it's going to be. But, they were fun. They had energy. Chuck Billy sounded amazing live. Oh my god! He gets better with age. I'm serious. He really does. Alex Skolnick nailed his solos as always. He's always great to watch. I love how he just kind of sits a guitar almost like in his knee crotch area. He's just like, yeah, it's shredding. It's awesome. The only thing is that I feel like Testament live, I wish, this is going to sound so weird, sometimes they are a little bit, like, not 100% in tune with each other in terms of Alex Skolnick and Eric Peterson, to where, like, Eric Peterson plays 5 notes and then he's sliding down the neck of the guitar, and then he plays 6 more notes and then he's sliding down the neck of the guitar. I'm like, okay, whatever. But they were fine. Testament's great. I just think Testament, I would rather see them in a smaller venue at a headlining show, to be honest with you. I think they brought the heat, but I think they bring the heat a lot better in that sort of environment. So next up was Behemoth. This is the first time I've ever seen Behemoth, and I've been wanting to see Behemoth for a very long time. I've just never gotten the chance. I really wanted to go to the tour that they did with Cannibal Corpse a few years ago. I wanted to go see them when they did the Satanist in its entirety. Didn't get to see that. It feels like it's been a long time since I've been like, I really want to see Behemoth, especially since the Satanist came out. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's an amazing album, and so seeing them, I think they obviously the bands on here are a little bit more old school. They're more thrash metal inspired, but I love that Slayer's taking Behemoth out yet again on a tour, and this is a massive chance for Behemoth. They had a pretty good crowd reaction, if you ask me. I think people were just very captivated by them and went like, wow, this is pretty good. And they had a ton of energy, like way more energy than I thought they would. And also just like their stage presence is great. The atmosphere they create when they're on stage is amazing. They open up with A Fire in the Void and just completely just punch to the face. I love that song so much. It's so good. Then they broke into Demigod, which is another really good one. They played 2 new tracks, Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer and O Father, O Satan, O Son. I think those are the two best tracks off of the Satanist. The whole album's pretty much perfect to me, but those 2 songs are amazing. And especially like Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer, that middle section hits really hard, and hearing that live was awesome. Seeing people just bang their fucking heads to that was so cool. Nurgle sounded amazing live. I love, he had a lot of variance in his voice, which I really liked when we saw them. But then, playing O Father, O Satan, O Son, that song is just incredible. It felt very epic. It's a perfect song to end your set on, in my opinion. And then, the middle section happens, and then they come back for the end. It kind of keeps going on and on. There's, the whole sort of speech section or whatever, and they have these, like, weird-ass satanic-looking masks on. They're all standing there just staring out into the crowd. It's pretty fucking cool. I just enjoyed their stage presence greatly. They played a new song, Wolves of Siberia, which I thought was pretty damn badass. Cannot wait for the new album. It's going to be amazing. I really hope so. And then they threw back Chant for Eschaton 2000, which was really cool. Lots of energy in that track. They were just so much fun to watch. They really were. I really want to see Behemoth again because I thought they killed it. To me, they might have honestly had the best sound of the night. I thought, in terms of they had the best volume. They had the best, just being clear. It was really, really well done. So next up was Anthrax. Anthrax is always incredible live. Anthrax and Lamb of God are the only 2 bands that really make me feel like I should kind of come out of mosh retirement. They really make me, like, I wish we had seats, great seats, don't get me wrong, but I kind of wish I was out on the floor when both of these bands were playing, because they're just so fun to just be in that crowd, be in the mosh pit, just kind of moving around with the crowd. They're always so fun. Anthrax, they brought the heat, man. They really did. It's like, no matter how big or small the venue, Anthrax is going to come out there and just kick your fucking face in, which I really just love about them every single time. They just bring the heat. And one thing I like about Anthrax is I feel like, when they are playing to a larger crowd at a festival or in an arena or something, I feel like their songs really do translate pretty well. As long as obviously the crowd really knows them, and when you have Slayer and Anthrax, I think there's going to be a nice overlap there in terms of fans, because you really heard the crowd singing along. The crowd was really, really into Anthrax, which was awesome to see. They come out caught in a mosh, Scotty, and just stand there, fucking playing that riff, that main riff that opens it, and just bam. Energy starts. It's so cool. I love how they play Caught in a Mosh live, because I feel like the verses they play slightly slower now, just slightly, but it's at the perfect pace because it is so crunchy, and just the rhythm is just amazing to that. Then they go into lot of old school tracks to start off. Got the Time, Madhouse, I Am the Law, all amazing songs. Joey Belladonna sounded amazing. Scott killed it on guitars. The whole Frankie Bello was amazing too. Just awesome. Just one of I'll never forget seeing Anthrax for the first time. It's still one of my favorite shows of all time. Anthrax, Testament, Death Angel. Fucking awesome show. I'll never forget seeing Anthrax headline the Metal Alliance tour a few years ago and play Among the Living in its entirety. I've had a lot of great concert memories with Anthrax. When they did that tour with Lamb of God, Death Heaven, Power Trip Open, that was an amazing show. This is one of my favorite performances by them. It's in a giant arena. They bring it all the time. The only new song they played was Evil Twin, which is a great song for sure. I really like hearing that one live. Then Antisocial and Indians. Indians is always fun because, they do the war dance and then they start and they're like, that fucking sucked. You gotta have fun, bang your head, blah, blah, blah. That place went fucking nuts. The floor was very large mosh pit. Yeah, Anthrax, they're great. Go see Anthrax live, man. You can't go wrong. Anthrax kind of, to me... I think this is obviously just very much personal opinion. I think thrash metal shows are the best kind of metal shows. They're the best kinds of concerts, period. Because of the energy, the sing-along factor, kind of the camaraderie that I feel everybody at a thrash metal show really has. It's just something special all the time. And I feel like Anthrax really embodies that all the time. So next up was Lamb of God. Lamb of God... I thought they crushed it as well. What I liked about this show is, some of these bands are touring behind new albums, like Anthrax or Testament, for example. But I feel like everybody kind of played a greatest hits set. They might have thrown in a new song or two, but everybody's albums at this point are kind of old. In terms of a few years old. They're not very heavily trying to go out there and push their new album. So everybody just kind of brought out the good stuff. Lamb of God opens up with, the slow, crushing Omerta, which was awesome. Then they broke into Ruin, Walk with Me in Hell, which is always amazing to hear live. Crowd went fucking nuts for that. That song is just, it's such a great live song. It really is. Now You Got Something to Die For is always good. The two new songs they played, new in a way, 512 and Engage the Fear Machine. I think 512 is just an amazing track. That was great to hear live. Then they broke out Black in the Curse Sun, which is great. Then ending with two of their most popular tracks, Laid to Rest and Redneck. Surprised they didn't play Black Label, but hey, here's an opportunity to really push yourself to a lot of different people, potentially. Laid to Rest, Redneck. Everybody's going to know those songs. Randy sounded amazing. The whole band just sounded really good. And Lamb of God, I feel, is really good at just getting everybody involved in terms of an arena show. They're good in front of large crowds. They're great, absolutely amazing, in like a club or theater setting. But, yeah. They were really good. There's not too much to say to me about Lamb of God. I mean, it's always great to see them. You know what you're getting with Lamb of God. You're getting a high energy show. You're getting a great frontman in Randy. I love when he's always like, "Are you ready to have a good time tonight?" Everybody's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, woo!" And everybody goes, "Woo!" It's always fun. And then he does it at random times and you hear everybody screaming. And then, when the band's not playing anything yet, they're transitioning to a different song or something, lights are down, you just hear everybody going, "Woo!" It's like wolves howling. It's weird, but it's funny. I like it. It's cool to me that, this tour is amazing, honestly, in terms of just metal. Lamb of God and Behemoth are two of the newer bands on here, if you want to say that. Younger bands, but still, they've been around for a very long time. So it's cool that, Lamb of God or Slayer brought some of those bands out still and put together an amazing package. My only gripe against this is I wish that Slayer brought out a band that was like way younger, Power Trip. I'm just going to use them as an example. Like, it would have been amazing to me if Slayer brought out Power Trip and Power Trip opened a tour and they just gave them this amazing opportunity, almost like a passing of the torch sort of thing. You know, give one of these new bands, big bands going away. Let's get somebody new out there. That would have been cool. That's my only gripe against this tour. Otherwise, it's perfect. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever been to. So yeah, then finally, Slayer for the final time. I will say this is my favorite performance I've ever seen Slayer do. I've seen Slayer, I don't know, 4 or 5 times at this point, and this was definitely, to me, the one where I feel like they sounded the best, where the crowd was just, obviously it's their final tour and they're headlining, so the crowd was just so into them, which I feel like fed everybody's energy. You know, the crowd kind of, you know, fueled themselves, but then also fueled the band, but the band fueled the crowd. It was just a great special time for a really long time. And I mean, they played 19 songs. They played for a while, and they played everything that you would possibly want to hear and then some. To me, like, there's a few tracks in here that I honestly did not expect to hear. You know, they played Payback, which I'm like, okay, you know, that's new. I did not expect to hear that one at all off God Hates Us All. And then Ditto Head. I honestly didn't expect them to play anything off of Divine Intervention, so that was awesome to hear. Then, of course, you know, they played the classics. Dead Skin Mask is always amazing to hear live. I love when a crowd sings the chorus and Tom Araya just steps away from the mic and he's just like, yeah, you guys sing it. That stuff's cool. Because Slayer's not really one for crowd interaction. You know, Tom Araya, they stop and he spoke 2 or 3 times maybe. And even at the end of the show, they always finish with Angel of Death. Played Angel of Death, and then they're just like, boom. They all took their fucking, you know, their guitars off. Paul Bostaff got up. They walked out. They're like, see ya. They threw a bunch of picks around. Everybody's awesome. Clapping. They're just walking around a little bit. They didn't say shit. They didn't say anything of like, hey man, this is our final tour. Thank you so much for everything you've given us, sort of thing. Thank you for being here, whatever. You know, all they really did was just play and done. They really let their music do the talking. Then Tom Araya eventually, after a few minutes, went up and was like, you know, thanks for being here. We'll miss you. See ya. And that's all they really had to say. You know, they really let their music do the talking. Even throughout the show, I mean, I think they played 5 songs before Tom really said anything. Then it was just like, I just need you to scream war. And then they play War Ensemble. And then they play 6 more songs. And he's like, hey, what's up? You know, sometimes that can maybe get boring in a weird way of like the band's just playing. And you're there for the band. And you're there to hear their music. But sometimes, you know, having a frontman up there, from lady, you know, up there to break that up, to really talk to the crowd, to speak to them and to bring them in a little bit more. You know, sometimes that really helps. But then when you have something like Slayer that's just like, yeah, let's just fucking thrash out. That's all we need to do. You guys know this shit. Let's just go, dude. Let's just play everything you want to hear and let's just have a good time. I think that works really well, too. I mean, because they really brought it. I mean, they opened with Propellers, which, you know, I really like that song. I don't like that album, but that song is amazing. Get into a classic there with Blood Red. Didn't expect to hear that. That was awesome to hear. You know, like I said, they played everything. They, you know, in terms of the hits, Disciple, Mandatory Suicide, Hate Worldwide, Jihad. The only track that I wish they did not play was When the Stillness Comes off their new album. I fucking hate that song. Just obviously, just very personal opinion. I think that song is one of the most boring fucking Slayer songs, most boring thrash songs, boring metal songs, period, I've ever heard. I mean, the main riff at the end is cool, but then they're done. And I'm like, okay, sure. And out of everything, it's your final tour, you play that when there's so many other songs I'd rather hear. What about, like, you know, and other people I feel just would fucking love to hear. What about, like, Ghost of War is the one that I really would love to hear. You know, Temptation's amazing. Spirit in Black. Come on, man. Dawn They Sleep. You play that? It's okay. I forgive you. Yeah. It was great. The whole thing was just amazing. Because, like I said, I feel like they had the best sound, and man, did they have the best production I've ever seen them have. They had lots of flames. It was, you felt the heat, literally. And they used it in such cool ways. It's so cool when they have all these flames going and the lights are perfect and all this stuff, and they're playing Hello Waits, and Tom Rye's like, Hello Waits, and it's like, that stuff just adds so much to their overall performance and aesthetic and in feeling. It was really awesome. It had amazing backdrops the whole time, just amazing lighting. A lot went into this. Obviously, a lot goes into any tour like this, any major show like this, but I feel like they really went all out. And, Kerry King and Gary Holt were great. They really performed well, I felt. They had a lot of energy with them. The only thing I fucking hate is how they don't, Gary Holt properly doesn't play Jeff Hanneman's part, the recorded part of Seasons in the Abyss solo. Now, my only thing with that is like, okay, he's just winging it. It sounds like every other Slayer solo. It sounds like every solo you've just played tonight. Just saying, whatever. I've never been the biggest fans of Slayer solos, but Seasons in the Abyss, that the second half of that solo is so amazing. It is so well written, and it's different for Slayer. It's got this like melodic feel that's perfect. It can't be that hard. You're Gary fucking Holt. You shred like a motherfucker. You've wrote amazing riffs, amazing solos. Come on, man. You just gotta do it. That's one of my very few gripes about their performance. It's always been a gripe to me about their performance, but hey. Also, when they played Angel of Death, the last backdrop they had was it almost looked like a bottle cap, said Hanneman on it, Still Raining, 1964 to 2013, everything. I thought that was really cool to send off. Of course, it's sad to see Slayer go. Even leaving, I'm like, man, that's probably the last time I'm going to see Slayer, It is sad, but you kind of knew that time was going to come eventually. They are getting old. Their style of music is a very demanding style. I know there's other bands out there, Metallica still going, Megadeth, Anthrax, all that stuff, but Slayer is just fucking nonstop all the time. It's got to be a little bit more grueling, I feel, on you. And props to Tom Araya for doing this in and night out in terms of his voice. Unbelievable, because he sounded great. He sounded great throughout the whole show. It's like, man, I know he's not an amazing singer, if you want to call it just singing, but all the shouting and all that stuff that you expect from Slayer, that's awesome, that really works for them, that's got to be grueling on your voice, and he does it night in and night out, and props to him. It is sad to see Slayer go. Do I wish, and of course I wish, they would have been able to go as the original lineup, and that Hanneman would still be here to perform with them. Dave Lombardo, could have settled their business issues, put that aside, performed with them as well. Of course, I wish that more than anything, but, Paul Bostap's an amazing drummer. He had his part in this band's history for sure, so having him there is great. And then Gary Holt, he's an amazing dude. He's written some of the best thrash metal albums ever, too. So, not a bad way to go out, in my opinion. Go see this tour. I cannot recommend this tour enough. Even, I know, just being Slayer's final tour, but to me, this overall package is just amazing. So go see it. Let me know if you've been there. Let me know your experience. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.